What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episode 6 of Chainsaw Man. We're going to do a real quick recap. This episode did give us a whole lot while giving us quite a bit of little details. So we are left continuing the last situation where they're stuck on the 8th floor of this building. As they kind of let that set in, everybody starts handling that differently. They do a couple tests to see if there's ways to get out of here. They try the ceiling. They try going out the window, which goes back into other rooms. That's the same rooms that they were just in, back to the hallway. And so everybody starts handling this news differently, while some are trying to figure out the situation with no information. Others are having panic attacks, and others are going insane. Kobeni being the one that I'm talking about. She's not handling it well. Well, of course, Denji is taking advantage of the comfy bed that he finds himself in, saying he owes the devil for this bed and this nap. Power is just kind of thinking about her plans of global dominance by starting off winning a Nobel Peace Prize, which is the stupidest plan I've ever heard in my life, but she's so adamant about it.
She's not very smart.
No, which I think is part of her charm for sure. If she was like smart, I think it'd ruin it. Her simplicity's fun. So we got Aki walking around trying to figure out where the devil is at, and Himeno kind of starts reflecting on her past with Aki, which gives us a little more insight on their relationship back when she essentially introduced him to smoking, which is not a good thing. Don't smoke. But she got him to do it. And we get a little charming situation where they were still freshly together, but he finds out that some people have reacted in her past and in front of him to their loved ones who were partners of her before, being angry about the situation of losing people they cared for, and they take it out on her. He ends up putting gum on the dress of or the clothes of some girl to kind of get some payback, which kind of adds to their relationship blossoming. Speaking of relationship, there seems to be a little bit more between them than just being partners. It's hinting at a little bit, as we see Himeno definitely cares about Aki a lot, which we find out more about as he starts talking about pulling a sword out. We don't know much about this, but we will find out, I'm sure, later. But also at one point when Aki walks in and gets like face to face with Himeno trying to get her cigarette, Denji instantly gets really weird about it, which was really funny. So the devil ends up revealing itself, and it is essentially an amalgamation of a bunch of different bodies, saying essentially that they're not going to be able to find its heart. They want the group to sacrifice Denji and feed him to it, so that they can essentially get rid of the Chainsaw Man and probably gain his power or something. So a lot is kind of weighed on that contract that it's offering. It's made clear as well that that contract would be honored, as long as they were to do what they asked, they would have to oblige it. We also find out that Power can't do that because she humors it. But while they are talking about that, Kobeni, going through her psychosis, is really ready to take out Denji, to the point where she attacks it with a knife and gets taken out pretty quickly by Aki and Himeno. I'm still trying to make sure I got all the right names. There's a lot of different characters with a lot of new names. And even Arai comes out, having had his panic attack, and agrees that they should kill Denji as well. Which I said last review, this guy's going to be cannon fodder. I still think that, but we'll see. Aki says essentially that he will not let Denji die. That causes some friction. He offers to use his sword, which we don't know much about.
He gives we get a brief rundown that it's a separate devil contract, it sounds like, and by using it, the contract seems to be he loses years off his life.
Yeah, he's gonna be like Solid Snake and age quickly. I assume that's what they meant by that, but or maybe he'll die earlier. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
So yeah, very vague stuff, but that's all kind of hinted towards. A bunch of stuff happens. The devil starts feeding off of their fear, starts going crazy. They find out that Power ate all the food that they had rationed. Wasn't much, but
Blames
she just decided to eat it and then says Denji did it, which is just so Power. Kobeni, that's her name, freaks out more. And then they all kind of gather around the elevator trying to concoct a plan while Kobeni and Arai are still pleading that they feed Denji to the devil. And while they are kind of humoring that discussion, Kobeni attempts to stab Denji, and Aki moves in the way, gets stabbed in the side. Pretty bad because he's bleeding all over the place. Essentially saying that he wants to kill the gun devil and he needs people who are going to be down to do that, and Denji's somebody who's going to be able to do that. And so it's important for him to keep Denji alive. So we already have a sacrifice for Denji, building relationships for the future, I'm sure. And even Power is asked to help Aki, and she reluctantly does it because she views him as a source of cooking for her. And so we got relationships blooming. So shit's not going great, but Denji finally is getting ready to do what we were hoping for him to do, and is going to allow the devil to swallow him, but he's going to do his Chainsaw Man thing. And then the episode ends, which is the worst cliffhanger ever, because I knew this was going to happen, and as soon as they start getting wild, I'm like, of course, now I got to wait a week. And then we got an outro that was pretty simplistic, pretty chill in its vibe, had some cool visuals. Probably
very on point thematically.
On point thematically, with the Infinity Devil, that was its name, and probably my least favorite of all the outros, but it was still cool. I think the last two are like really good, so just kind of mentioning that. Anyway, what were your impressions of this episode?
I mean, I think my favorite thing about the episode was we got a lot of time with the characters themselves, and basically, how people interact with other types of people and personality meshing and conflicts and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed. I also really like how no matter the situation, Power doesn't seem to care about anything, like at all. She's just there.
Nope.
Denji's kind of similar. He has like some thoughts, but they're never necessarily on the situation as much as like what's happening directly to him. And Aki definitely seems to be like the level-headed, like even in the whole group. I honestly expected the eye patch chick to be that person, but no, it's still Aki. He's kind of like the guy, which is good. We obviously we need a person like that, or else we're just gonna have a bunch of fucking crazy people in a group. So
true. Yeah, there's 4 of them. There's 4 crazy people in this group.
Yeah, the guy is less crazy and more fucking. I can't remember the dude's name now, but
Arai.
Yeah. He had a panic attack, but that was like the most of it. He's probably the most like
by crazy human. I mean we got 4 mentally unstable people.
Oh, yeah.
I'll put it that way.
For sure.
Because he's not helping.
No. Stress got to him bad.
And Kobeni was trying to drink toilet water.
Yeah. That was an interesting sentence.
And they had to knock her out.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty off the deep end to be making decisions like that, I suppose.
Yeah. So going back to what you're saying, though, is what I was adding to it is, you only have Aki and Himeno.
Yeah.
Who are like staying. Yeah.
To Aki, and then Himano or whatever just falls apart. So he's definitely like the rock, basically, of the group. So I And that's good because he kind of acts as like the orbit or things that can orbit around him or whatever when it comes to a group dynamic. Um, yeah, I like the idea of the devil. Basically, that the eighth floor is its stomach, and because they can't leave, they can't get to its heart. I will be curious to see what that means with Denji going inside of the dude's mouth, since they were technically in his stomach. So I'm like, two stomachs? Like, what's the deal here? Like, so.
Yeah, I wasn't even sure if he meant that literally or not, though.
Yeah, well,
I mean, it could be very literal. It's anime, so like
Yeah.
the whole building could be his body, which it pretty much is. But like, he could also just be kind of saying like, "This is my stomach. Like, I'm gonna eat you guys. Like, this is fucking, you're trapped here." Blah blah blah. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and then yeah, I like at the end basically, even though they're all still kind of butting heads a little bit, you kind of get these glimpses of like, especially the three roommates, kind of having some connective tissue forming between them, which is good because obviously they're kind of stuck together. So some sort of friendship needs to happen, especially for us to be able to go forward with these guys being a group together. Even if it is an awkward friendship the whole time, some connective tissue is good, and seeing Aki take a blade for Denji, regardless of his selfish reasons for it, was I think kind of needed. So.
Yeah, and I mean it's an interesting contrast to like when we first meet Aki, who's essentially trying to beat the fuck out of Denji and tell him to go away, and now he's realizing that there's at least benefits to having Denji around.
Yeah.
To the point where he's willing to sacrifice himself for that benefit. So it's a big benefit. I'm not trying to underplay it. So it's quite the evolution already.
Yeah, and especially with the flashbacks, we get a little more of this too. But this whole show is basically constantly shown that Aki, not always the best decision making when it comes to his way of showing he cares, is a very caring person. Because even when he was beating up Denji, it was for Denji's sake in his mind. So,
100%. Yeah. He had to be brutal because he just wants him to fucking leave.
yeah.
So there's no discussion. It's just like, leave, get out of here.
Yeah. So I'm really enjoying his character a lot.
Same.
And then Denji and Power are just a blast.
This is the thing that's fucked up about the show for me is I like every single character.
Yeah.
Which is rough because like most animes, most everything, there'll be characters I like and characters I think are okay and characters I dislike, whatever. But this show I like every single character and they all feel different. And so
a lot of personality.
Now that we're fleshing out Aki, I like him even more. I had like a subtle, even in that first episode, I had like a little hint of like, I think I'm gonna like this guy. He's just rough around the edges a bit. Obviously, I like Denji, which is great because the show would be completely different if I didn't like Denji. There's another anime I've been watching recently that I won't talk about here just yet, but I was telling you, I don't really like the main character, which kind of sucks because like I have to look at this guy talking all the time and doing stuff. But yeah, anyway, the show's got really good characters that are slowly being, I mean, this is only 6 episodes in, so slowly, but they're being fleshed out responsibly, I think, in a way that is working for me. I'm becoming invested in these characters. And even the new characters that they're adding. I'm like, they seem cool too. I mean, I don't give a fuck about Arai or Kobeni at all so far. But even Himeno seems cool. And I like her relationship with Aki. It adds more layers to his character.
For sure. And I haven't read the manga, but I do know from seeing a couple manga panels, we do get more characters later too that are part of this Devil Hunter unit.
Well, even in the intro, I was noticing it this episode, and I've seen her in every episode, but I was thinking about it now that I'm looking at characters going like, okay, well, these ones I all know now. But in the background, in the theater, there's like the angel chick. There's also a scene where she's sitting on the stairs.
With wings,
Yeah. And I'm like, who's that? Right. And why is she sitting away from everybody? There's a couple other people too. So it's interesting how as the show unravels the characters, I'm like, okay, well, I know these people. Who the fuck is this?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. Overall, I enjoyed the episode. I do also kind of enjoy that it was mostly a slower paced episode. I'm sure not everyone enjoys that, but I like moments where Um, you have time for characters to socialize because it adds more to those characters.
It's needed.
Yeah.
You need that downtime. Not like filler episodes where they go and have fun or whatever, which would be
or the beach episode.
exactly. That's what I mean. But
Yeah.
like an episode where progression's happening, things are happening, but also it's not just about action. It's about getting to know the characters,
Yeah.
getting to know the dynamics, which I think this episode does really well because it's just continuing the investigation that we got from the last episode. But when it started doing the flashbacks, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, we're getting even more info on these characters, and it works completely because it comes up with like the cigarette, it's the last cigarette, and it just kind of like adds this flavor to everything that's happening, that just makes everything feel better. I don't know. I really like the way they do it.
Yeah, they handle flashbacks really well. It's actually it's gonna be a weird comparison, but it's also kind of the way like One Piece handles like fleshing out characters. They just a moment will happen, and they're like, let's show the past for a second, so that you have context on the situation. And then they come back. The show's doing the same thing, and I think I like that handling better than having an entire episode that's devoted to the past. So.
Yeah, I like the tidbits because
Yeah.
we get to stay in the moment and the progression of the story, but also we're getting context to the characters, which I think is a really good way to do it. I also think it works really well for this episode specifically, but the way they've done it before, because what's happening is kind of like grim. It's bleak. Like
Yeah.
they're just stuck on the 8th floor. It's 8:18. They're stuck in time. He can't even get his I forgot his name, but his dog, the fox that's out of this building can't come to help. Nobody can come to help because they're frozen in time. They're locked. Like there's nothing's happening. Like in outside, like that's just this time where they're at. And they're talking like really quickly, already talking about like starving to death, just being stuck here and dying in this place. They're walking around, it feels hopeless, and eventually there's just going to be some action that's going to get them out. But to interject meaningful storytelling for Aki and Himeno, but also the humor with the flashback with the gum, it offers some fun outside of course Power and Denji
and her Nobel Peace Prize scheme.
Because without those two characters and the flashbacks, this episode would be like, well, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like this just sucks for people.
Yeah.
So a lot of really good flavors in just like one episode. It was really well done.
Yeah, and then the ending, I agree. Song wise, was probably my least favorite.
Yeah.
I think visuals were really good because I think they were spot on with the episode.
I think it was the song that just kind of like was just a little too chill for me.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't, for lack of a better term, vibe with it too much.
Yeah,
So,
wasn't a vibe.
yeah, but it was, it wasn't bad. It just,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd, pick it up on iTunes and listen to it on a daily basis. So,
Yeah, that intro song's growing on me though.
well, I bought that day one.
Yeah, I'm not that quick to just like a song, but I thought it fit the intro really well. But as I keep watching the show, we haven't skipped the intro in 6 episodes. We keep watching it. I think it's a great fucking intro.
Yeah.
To a show.
When I'm binging, I'll watch like every intro one time and then I just skip.
Yeah.
But when I watch weekly, I watch the intro every time.
Gotcha.
On every show I watch. So not that we have to do that. I'm just saying that's generally my habit.
I haven't even thought about it.
So.
Because I like the animation of the intro. I think it's really well done. And I think the song's awesome. So
Yeah.
I don't mind watching it. Although for time's sake, if we were binging, I would want to skip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it. So.
So I really liked this episode a lot. I've been liking every episode a lot, and I was thinking while watching this episode that this might be one of my favorite animes I've ever seen. And it's only 6 episodes, which is really wild. The writing's smart. The characters are great. And I know I'm kind of like giving a smaller review of the show so far, but like this episode kind of solidified it for me that I really enjoy the characters. I really enjoy the writing. I enjoy that in this scenario, it's brief, but in situations where people are trapped in stuff in movies, I'm like, break the window, break the wall down,
Yeah.
destroy the door, like just try something. And people stand there, freak out, and they went over it quickly. Like, we try to go through the ceiling, we try to go this way, that way, none of it works.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. I'm glad that they just like got that out of the way, so I don't have to think about that kind of stuff. I also like that they're playing around with how people react to the situation, because the first thing I thought when they were like, even on the last episode, when they were like, we can't leave this floor, I'm like, that'd be crazy if you couldn't leave that floor. Because even if you're like a powerful devil hunter and you can't leave, you're just going to die.
Yeah.
That's like the perfect trap. So it's kind of a fuck situation. They're going to get out of it, of course, but like just to kind of think about that situation, it's like, that's pretty bad. They even covered like the food. They found some food, not a lot. Power ate it, which is funny. Of course she did. I was wondering who was going to eat it. I thought it was going to be Kobeni, while she's freaking out and wanting to stab everybody with her stupid knife. Yeah.
Where'd she even get that?
I don't know. As soon as she found it, though, she wouldn't let go of it. She's just ready to use that on somebody, because she's freaking out on Arai and Power as well. She slowly just like creeped out from behind the wall with it. I'm just like, dude, someone knock this chick out again.
True.
For an episode where people are just like hanging out in rooms and walking around, goddamn does this show have great animation. There were scenes where there's like hanging out, and the facial animations were really good, especially on Kobeni when she's freaking out. When they're running through the hall, it looked really good, because like it wasn't like animation where they're just like flying. It was like a realistic run where you could kind of see the weight of their body while they're running. And I'm like, man, they are just like really not pulling any punches on this animation.
Yeah.
Like it's fantastic. And met with another, just me gushing about how much I like this show. I love the art style of this show. I think the character design is really good. I think the world design is really good. The details are awesome, and met with the awesome animation, it's just like such a pleasure to look at this fucking show. And even this episode where they're like walking through rooms and not really doing a lot, there's like a lot of work with like reflections, looking through windows.
Nappa loves the close up of the eyes. I'm not complaining. I love eyes.
The eyes, like there's so many cool little animation details in this episode that don't need to be there. And we've been saying that every single episode ever since, like, you know, we saw the animation in the car when they were talking, and we see through the windows of the car driving around, and like the angles and stuff like that. Really great stuff they're doing here. But then in this episode too, I'm just like, who else is doing this shit? I mean, like Demon Slayer has amazing animation for sure, but like the creativity in the direction of this show is just like phenomenal. I'm like loving it. I'm looking at it. There's parts in this where I was like, this looks like a movie.
Well, it's kind of crazy too, because like I'm definitely getting the vibe that the manga artist is definitely a movie but guy.
Sure.
Because even like the intro to the show is a bunch of movie references, and
it's an homage to a bunch of movies.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure even like the characters are supposed to be kind of based off of like a oh god, what was it? I almost want to say I don't quote me on this, but like a Reservoir Dogs, or like a I don't even remember now. They're definitely
like a Tarantino movie?
I think they're based off a movie, like in the way the characters and stuff are. But yeah, I don't know. It definitely has that like I don't know how to word this other than like a Western movie vibe to the way like things are handled.
I just think there's a very cinematic quality to the show. That, you know, in a manga you're gonna get like locked images that might be picturesque. I don't know. I haven't read the manga, but what Mappa's doing with the movement of animation, that's not something in the manga. They're taking still frames and creating motion, animation, movement, and they're keeping it like, maybe the manga is cinematic, but like what Mappa's doing is cinematic for sure. And I can't give them all the credit, but they're the ones animating it, and so it has a very movie-esque quality to it that I love. I'm a huge film buff, so like everything just looks very inspired by cinema, which I think is fantastic. So anyway, that's enough gushing over the visuals. I love it. The music's awesome too in every episode, but in this there's that rapid, crazy sounds that they do that I think fits the atmosphere of this show so well. and I really liked the almost like Donner Party environment of like, do we got to start like killing people? What are we gonna do to survive this situation? Are we gonna starve to death? All that kind of stuff was just a lot of fun. The devil is gross looking. I love so far the variety of devils in this. They're all disturbing for the most part, outside of, what was it, a giant tomato or something in the first episode? I don't remember. That was a weird.
It was a tomato devil. Yeah.
Like, it really shows the range of what a devil can be in this world, which is ridiculous. Because like Pochita is a fucking chibi chainsaw dog, or was.
Who is literally a chainsaw? Yeah.
Yeah, like, just a chainsaw, but has 4 legs and some eyes.
And I know it was established early on the show too, but like these devils came into existence because of a fear of those things. So it's that tomato devil exists because there was enough people who feared tomatoes.
Yeah, it's interesting because they feed off fear. We see that in this episode with when Kobeni is like freaking out, the devil gets excited, starts cruising down the hallway.
And Power gets excited.
Well, I was going to bring that up. I thought it was also really funny when she was first like figuring out, Kobeni was first figuring out like she's fucked, and what is she even sacrificing herself for? She just wanted to go to college.
Yeah.
That's it. And she was either doing this or sex work. And so she's like having a realization of like, how the fuck did I get here? And she starts freaking out, and Power's just like loving it.
Yeah.
She's like making fun of how her face looks. She's just laughing, having a great time. I think it's funny too that every time Power starts laughing, she doesn't look like she's like happy and enjoying it. She looks like she's like nuts. She's like, ha ha
she's
ha ha.
thriving.
Like her eyes are just like
Yeah.
blank, but she's like laughing and smiling and pointing and shit. And I'm just like, she's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. While she's thinking stupid Nobel Prize.
I think it adds a lot to her just, not being human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because you can have like a crazy character who's wild in like anything, but the way they're handling it with her feels a little less cliche than I expected it to be. So I think they do give her a non-human feeling quality, which I think is 100% needed. Otherwise, she would just be, oh, she's the crazy person.
Yeah, even when she talks, she's not very like human about it.
Well, and she's also like not super intelligent either. So
Yeah.
it's like she's not even like this witty, crazy devil. She's just like simple.
Yeah.
In her ambitions, almost predictable, which is funny. Whereas like Denji's just kind of like simple in his lack of experience in the world, and his expectations are fucking low. Like he lays in a like I like right after they figured out like we can't leave, they go in that room to talk, and everyone's just standing around, and he's just laying in the bed
blankets.
under the blankets. Yeah.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Just instantly was like, I'm gonna get in here, and then like he falls asleep, and they're like looking at him. He's like, he's asleep. He's actually asleep, which is so ridiculous. And it was a funny way to time jump, because like he falls asleep and then he wakes up, and time's gone by, things have happened. He's like, what happened? And like, oh well, all these things were happening. They just let him sleep. Like it's just so stupid. I love it. And yeah, I agree with the Aki situation. It was cool to see sacrifice. It's adding weight to the characters, and even though it's not full on, we're all best friends, blah blah blah. There's value to the characters, to the other characters now, and even Power's playing with that a little bit too. I mean, she's not going to reveal any kind of like caring, and she probably's not even there yet. But there is at least an inherent value to Aki to her, enough for her to cooperate. Because in this situation, she doesn't really need to cooperate. If she's under the assumption everyone's just going to die, she would take advantage of that situation. So, as she has in the past. So that was cool. And I like the unraveling of Himeno. I want to know more about the character. I'd like to know more about her past. We got a quick flashback of a gravestone with a raven on it when Aki got stabbed. And she's been the most resistant of him using his sword. He's tried to use it twice, showing obviously that he's willing to sacrifice himself to get this done. I want to know what his sword does, so we know it's going to happen at some point. But she does not want him to harm himself, meaning he is valuable to her, obviously. So a lot of really interesting dynamics between everyone except for Kobeni and Arai, who are just kind of there.
Yeah, super new, but like, all we've gotten out of them is grumpy and crazy.
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, the whole episode has just been going crazy.
Dude, she got so much liquid coming out of her face. It's insane.
I wasn't expecting it either, because in the last episode they kind of played her off like she was just kind of nervous in like a fun way, like, oh, she's nervous, blah blah blah, and this she's like freaking out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, she's like losing her shit. Okay.
Also, shout out to her voice actor.
Yeah.
She definitely sounded stressed out. So.
She definitely sounded stressed out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everything, though. Definitely want to see next episode. The cliffhanger of him jumping in, I'm just like, all right, let's go. And I was like, wait, this episode's been going for a little bit. They're not going to show that yet. Yeah. So definitely excited to see some action. I'm sure after this episode, we are going to see action. It's implied, of course, but also makes sense that they're not going to go a bunch of episodes without any kind of action happening. So yeah, can't wait to see that. Can't wait to see how this is resolved. Can't wait to see if we lose anybody or if these characters are permanent. I obviously think Himeno is going to be around, but I'm curious about Kobeni and Arai, if they're going to survive this or whatever. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. Anything else you'll say?
No. Cliffhanger sucks. I'm going to be thinking about it until Tuesday. So.
Yeah. All right, well, let us know in the comments what you guys think of episode 6 of Chainsaw Man. What'd you like? What didn't you like? If you didn't like something, please no spoilers. We have not read the manga. And what are you hoping for in the next episode? What do you think about the dynamics between the characters? What do you think about the devil and the trap they laid out for everybody? What do you think about Kobeni freaking the fuck out? What do you think about Power's approach to world domination and blaming Denji for everything?
100% tax rate.
And she explained that. I'm like, that's not even that good of a plan. Then later she's like talking about it. She's like, I'll kill Denji. It's the only way I can get that Nobel Prize.
I gotta get out of here to get it. Yeah.
I was like, God. You literally just thought of that stupid plan. Now you're just like committed to it. And yeah, let me know what you think about in the comments below when it comes to this episode. I've been Seth, this has been Chevy. Until the next episode, we'll talk to you guys later.